Hey guys, in this video we'll talk about the if-then statements. To start off with, we'll type void setup in void draw, and we will declare a Boolean variable called myBool, and we'll give it an initial value of false. Now, an if-then statement allows us to do two different things depending on the value of the Boolean variable. For instance, let's create an if-then statement here. So to create an if-then statement, you need the keyword if, and then open parentheses, close parentheses, and then in the parentheses you need a condition. In this case, we'll just put in myBool. You need braces, and then you need the else statement. Now it's called an if-else statement because the statement includes the if keyword and the else keyword. Now, the way the if-else statement works is that whatever is in between the parentheses will be evaluated, and if the evaluation comes out to true, everything in between the first set of curly braces will run. Otherwise, the instructions in between the second curly braces will run. Second set of curly braces will run. So in this case, myBool is initially set to false. So if I have, let's create a variable. Let's call it, let's give an int, and let's give it minimum. Let's call it small. Let's give it the value 10. Let's call it big. Let's give it the value 1000. And in bool, let's create this. Let's use the print line function to print out you win. Small points. Okay, and I'm going to copy this line and I'm going to paste it here. And I'm going to replace small with big. That way, if myBool evaluates to true, this statement will run. Actually, I'm going to include a new line. I'm going to include another statement there. Copy this here. Actually, let's make this interesting. You don't win if you... So, the way this statement works is that if myBool is false, these instructions will run. If myBool is true, these instructions will run. Now, by default, we've initialized myBool with the value false, and everywhere else we haven't changed the value of myBool. So myBool is still false here. So when this if condition runs, the condition will evaluate to false, and the else case will run. So everything in here will run. So when this function runs, when the program runs from top to bottom, you'll create the variables. You'll enter the void setup function, and then this condition will be evaluated. myBool will be false, so this won't run, but this will run. So you'll see you lose one big points. Big will be substituted by this big variable here, which is 1000. So you'll see you'll lose 1000 points, and then you'll see game over. If we run that, you'll see it here. You lose, game over. Okay. Now, if on the other hand, we change the value of myBool so that it stores true, you see that this case, these two statements will run. Okay, you win 10 points. Game over. You win 10 points. Um, yeah, and that's basically how an if statement works. Now, you don't have to use my bool here. You can use different conditions, like um, things that will either evaluate to true or false. There are many statements that evaluate to true or false, such as inequalities. So if your type is, let's say, 56 is equal to 100. So this double equal sign is not like this equal sign here. In programming, this is called an equality check, um, or an equivalence check. Here, the computer will read this and it will ask the question, is 56 in value equal to 100? And of course, this is false. So this expression here, we call this an expression because it involves the equivalence operator. This expression will evaluate to false, and the else statement will run. Let's delete this for a second. Okay, and to prove my point, let's change this to true. So initially, my bool is true. Actually, we don't even use that at this point, right? You don't see my bool in this condition at all. But this expression is definitely false because 56 is not equal to 100. So if we run it, the false case, the else case should run. Indeed, it does. You lose 1,000 points. Game over. Now, if we replace 100 with 56, this condition will evaluate to true because 56 is indeed equal to 56. So this condition will run. Okay, indeed, you win 10 points. Game over. You win 10 points. Okay, now, in addition to the equivalent symbol, you can use the comparison operators. So this is a less than operator. So 56 is it less than 56? Of course not. 56 is equal to 56. It can't be less than 56. So as a result, because it's false, this statement runs. Okay, is it less than 120? Yes, it is. But is it less than 100? Negative 100? No, it isn't. So the false statement appears. Okay, so these are examples of expressions, and the expressions can get pretty complicated. So for instance, you can write things, you can do math and then have it be in the expression is the difference between big and small greater than 100. Now big is 1,000, small is 10. 1,000 minus 10 is 990, which is greater than 100. So the true case will run, and you'll see you'll win small points. Indeed, it does. Okay, so this is a compound expression because it involves a subtraction and then an equality. Yeah, and that's basically it. You can create any number of complicated expressions. But what's important is that it has to evaluate to either true or false. You can't, by default, if you put a number here, I believe this automatically any number evaluates to true. Okay, actually no, it doesn't. It doesn't even work that way. Okay, in some other languages it does work where if you enter any number, it's this expression evaluates to true automatically. But in processing, you can't put a number. You can see the error here. Type mismatch int does not match with Boolean. So here the computer is expecting something that returns a Boolean, a true or false. But instead we've given an int, an integer, the integer 10. All right. So for instance, you can use the keyword true even. You can see that this condition runs. Okay. So that's all for the conditional statements.